don't fucking know. Okay, don't blame me.
Okay. Kill rat, hit headshots,
Shut up,
press F.
Marcos. Okay. So basically, you can divide Vermintide's mechanics into the combat mechanics into two parts. One is offense, and one is defense. Now, I don't think I need to explain one of these. This is to deal damage, and this is to negate damage. So to deal damage, you have stuff like combos. Combos are one of the stuff that you can use. Fire bombs, strength, fire bombs, or whatever. We're not going to talk about these. Instead, we're going to be focusing on defense. Let's see if I can move here. Okay. So I'm going to be focusing on defense. Now, why defense? Because I think that defense is fucking in official realm. Why do I say this? Well, because let's talk about the mechanics of defense first. So first, you have one, blocking. I think like uh every single official realm player has forgotten this mechanic. Two is dodging. You will find your average legend player spamming the shit out of the space button. And three, you have pushing.
Man,
No,
don't
no,
diss
not
me like
pushing.
that. What is this?
Not pushing, but staggering.
They also spam spacebar button Slayer.
Now this is basically the three core mechanics that one should interact with if they want to negate damage. If we rank this in order of importance and in order of what people fucking use, it'll be stagger first, dodging second, and no one uses blocking. This is the current state of official realm because there is a significant problem in official realm. Why? Is that staggering is completely free. You can stagger well, okay, let's list the things that you can stagger with a let's say a mason sword heavy one. So what can you stagger with a mason sword heavy one on official realm? Can you guys tell me? Any ideas?
No.
You're playing Diablo. Alright.
Yes, I am playing Diablo 3.
Oh, Tom Fragger, please help. What would you say? Okay, so from the top of my memory, you can stagger slave rats, slave clan rats, rot blood. No, not rot blood, but specifically, I think just trash. This will send them straight into stagger state one, the one where they're just like stumbling a little bit onto the floor, like that. And then you also, surprisingly, you can stagger elites. I don't know who gave the genius idea for players to stagger elites even on Kata 1, so you can pretty much use like purely heavy ones into a Cataclysm port and you'll get away because fuck Fast Shark. Fast Shark is dumb. They don't know how to properly uh design their game wall. And then these, now let's ignore slave rats, clan rats, because these you can just, they aren't they're not the enemies that are going to deal the most damage to you. Instead, it's always going to be elites. It's always going to be elites, no matter if you're in official realm or modded realm. These guys are number one priority. Now, why do I say so? Because elites have this spooky thing called overheads. Now, overheads can deal up to 150 HP. On this is on Kata 1. And the funny thing is, I think you can cancel a elite out of an overhead with a fucking Mason Sword Heavy one. I haven't proved that, but if it does, then it does. But if it not, then the cleave attack or the horizontal slash. I don't remember how much this deals. I think it's like 30 to 50-ish. It's still very dangerous. But I don't know. The whole problem is staggering is too free. If you can stagger a what do you use this? If you can stagger a elite out of a overhead or a horizontal slash with a mace and sword, a weapon that is supposed to be a blend of a sword and a mace and not a stagger machine like the sword and shield. This is one of the problems of Fisher that leads the players being too reliant on uh, too reliant on staggering and dodging. Now, if in the context of Death Wish, now let's talk about Death Wish. What does Death Wish do? Let's move over here. Let me just right. Okay, I think what is that? Okay, let's talk about Death Wish. Death Wish, this is actually C3, Death Wish category. It includes the the weave difficulties categories. Like you have kata 1, then you have kata 2, and kata 3. Now these two are usually weave exclusive. But what this mod does is that this removes this barrier and makes it so that you can play this in adventure or the campaign or whatever. What Death Wish specifically does, it is increases enemy stagger, or increases enemy stagger resistance.
Makes you do less damage.
Yes, and also like just a bunch of bullshit math stuff, but basically increases stagger resistance and makes you do less damage. Now this is for if you do C3. Now, what does increase stagger resistance mean? That means you can no longer stagger enemies at 3, or well, that easily. So there's actually, if I remember, 3 states of stagger. There's, let me see if I can change color. Okay. There's stage 1. No, stage 0. Stage 0 is when an enemy just stands still. Stage 1 is when you see them do like a little bit of a tumbling animation. And now stage 2, basically the one that you deal the most damage, the one you deal the most damages is when the enemy is like flying straight across on the floor. Now, what Death Wish does is that usually you can achieve these under like I don't know, a few light attacks, a few heavy attacks, but Death Wish basically makes stage 2 a dream. You're only going to be interacting with stage 1 most of the time. Now, let's go back to our defense or defense board, the defense table. Make my way over there on my iPad. Now, the defense table, as we have established, people like to rely on stagger, and then people like to rely on dodging, leaving, blocking. They just everyone forgets blocking. Now, one of the most common mistakes I see people or I see new players have on Death Wish is that they are too reliant on staggering. Now, because Death Wish makes staggering extra hard, that means their only method of, proper defense would be dodging. But dodging also has its faults, is that you can't really dodge a lot of enemies. Let's say you have around, let's see,
Hmm.
right, let's say you have like, how do I draw a cow? Oh, fuck it.
You don't.
Let's do a stickman. Let's say you have 4 storm vermin on you. 4 storm vermin on you, and you are right here. Now, these 4 storm vermin, as you can expect, they are not going to attack in sync. So, if you just let this play out, then what's going to happen is, uh, this guy is going to run and attack you. This guy is going to standing attack you. This guy is going to stand there, and this guy is going to running attack you. And that means you have 3 attacks to dodge in total. 2 of them are running. One of them is stationary. Now, running attacks have a you can't see this, can you? Running attacks have a different dodge timing compared to stationary attacks. So what happens is that even if you dodge the running attacks, you're going to get hit by the stationary attack. Now, what can you do in this situation? You can't dodge because you just
Alright.
dodged, right? Mertos, what can you do in this situation?
What situation? Like
Uh,
when you can't dodge,
yes. When you just dodge
you
an
you
attack and then
press
there's
right
another.
click.
Exactly, you press right click RMB. RMB, remember this is going to be very crucial in your modding career, in your own salt series, shit, whatever. This is very important. Remember this RMB is your best friend. This also applies to when you're kiting. So let's move on to another place. Let's talk about kiting. Now, kiting is a situation that happens when there are too many enemies for a team to deal with. With stationary. Now, why do I specifically specify stationary? Is because in modded, uh, if you're not moving, then that is going to be your optimal DPS, because if you're not moving, that means you can completely focus on your combos. If you focus on your combos, that means you're able to do optimal DPS. Now, kiting, again, let me say this again, kiting happens when there are two enemies for a team to deal with stationary. So what ends up happening is you have a wild goose chase. So let's imagine we have a little bit of trollery. We have like a lot of I'm tired, I'm just gonna go express these in like circles. So let's say you have like a lot of stuff coming from here, and then the players are around here. Now, what this does, what kiting is, sorry, it means that you are retreating. You are actively retreating while attempting to fight the enemies. Now, while you are retreating, oops, this show you some beautiful animations. Now, while you are retreating, it's going to be inevitable that there are going to be running attacks, and running attacks, as we have established, have different dodge timings. Now, let's say you've been dodging to get out of this situation, you've been dodging to gain extra distance. When your dodges run out, what are you gonna do? Murtos, what are you gonna do?
And now I am out of dodge distance.
When you are out of
Or
dodges, what are you gonna do? There's a running attack coming for you. What are you gonna do?
yes, blocking.
Yes, remember, right mouse button. Remember to block.
These questions are too hard.
Blocking,
Ask about.
exactly. Blocking is your best friend. Remember to always block. Remember to always block. I cannot underestimate how many times blocking has saved me.
I can.
You can, yes. I think that's enough for like one topic, one random topic that I've come up in a like this is I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. What the hell, man?
You, no, you need to explain how to not kite,
No.
how to prevent kiting.
Let's explain how to prevent kiting. Okay. Now let's go back to the definition. Well, let's see. Kiting is when there's too many enemies to deal with. Oh, let's say. Oh, Myrtos, can you give me the definition of many?
Uh, 30 enemies. Wait, no, that's too little.
That's too little.
Let's say 200 enemies, 20 elites.
Exactly, that is the definition of too many. Now, because there are too many enemies, that means you cannot fight them at once. You cannot fight them at once. that means you are going to devolve into this situation again. That means you're gonna have to kite. No, the keyword here is too many enemies. Too many enemies. You don't want to fight 200. You don't want to fight 200 elites. You want to fight 10 elites. So, kiting is a result of. Let me see if I can open up a new board here. Actually, I'll see if I can move the stuff. Can I move the stuff? I definitely can. Okay, I'll put this right here. So, kiting is a combination of bad pacing. Now, what do I mean by bad pacing? Bad pacing means that you are pulling too many shit. You are pulling too many shit. It is also because you have poor trigger management.
131. Let's try it.
Poor trigger management, that means you are unable to hit a trigger to trigger a patrol or a monster in time, and then you end up fighting with horde plus monster. And as we all know, one monster is equivalent to death. You do not want death. Now, another combination is maybe because the game is forcing you to. This is called events. Now, let's name some kiting event examples. For example, we have Dutch Fort. Any more kiting? There's a Righteous, the mid event.
Oh, Engines of War.
Yeah, Engines of War. We didn't
Both
talk about
events.
Engines of War. Now, Dutch Fort is
The worst event.
Dutch Fort is
Okay, I
a
forgot about combo.
combination of having too much, say it with me, shit, having too much shit. Now, Righteous Med Event is a combination of having a monster. And also,
The fuck you mean? First, there's also a monster.
too much, say
But
it
it
with
kills
me,
itself, okay?
say it with me, shit, too much shit. Now, how do we alleviate these problems? So, let's go into another board. Let's see. Okay, so how do you solve these problems? One, how to solve bad pacing. This is a pretty poor color. I'll use green.
Okay.
That's how to
Man, I
solve
got
bad
one
pacing.
top. What is this?
L buzzer, L, massive L.
Actually, L.
Okay, so
This is what
how
happens
do
when
we
you gear
solve
push.
bad pacing? Now, simple. Do not pull too many enemies. What you want to do is you want to recognize your limits. Not only your limits, but also your team's limits. So I think the correct term would be recognize your team's limits, what your team can handle, what your team cannot. The other is fight. Always fight a horde. Remember, horde before trigger. Now, how do you solve the second problem? Myrtos, how do you solve kiting events?
Pray.
No, you bring
Pray.
shade.
Also that.
You bring shade. Now, for all reasons, this is sarcastic. If you want to get good at kiting, then it's probably a subject for another thing. But always remember, RMB, right mouse button. Blocking is going to be your best friend. Any more topics? Any more stupid ideas?
Learn stress and
Fuck.
the event manager thing.
The what?
Learn stress by using the event mod.
Uh,
like practice with your team.
Alright, yeah. I completely forgot about that. I don't have a team. That's why that's why
I
I'm
was saying.
doing this.
This is why it sounds like kiting events.
There's so much LFGs that it's almost like practicing the event.
Yeah. So let's forget this one. To actually get good at kiting or for events, remember practice. You aren't gonna escape it. You're gonna have to practice kiting. You're gonna have to practice events. You're gonna have to practice to recognize when to block, when to dodge, when to efficiently rely on stagger. Practicing is going to be your best friend. You can use the event practice mod. You can use the event practice mod to teleport to events and then you can practice them on your own. Additionally, you can also do LFG in the modded Discord server. Okay, anything else?
Short dodge.
No.
No, we are not teaching short dodge to newbies.
Firewatch doesn't know how to short dodge.
I do.
Did you learn it? No way.
I did. Do you want me to show you it
Wait,
right
what do
now?
you mean?
No, I'm playing Diablo.
Wait, how is short dodging a hard thing?
He didn't learn it for like a long time.
Yeah, but like optimal QQing and combos are like way more demanding from the inputs.
What? I have to think about it. Just do move text when you're new.
I guess the good thing is if you practice short dodging, you may practice not accidentally long dodging when you like range attack.
I don't
Thing.
think
Yeah,
I've short
that's
dodged
like I think-
ever. It just doesn't come into my mind whenever I'm playing.
I just do it with Slayer to be faster. I just wanna be like Woolson.
Okay, I think we've talked enough for one recording. It's been
One podcast.
one podcast, yeah. The 20-minute podcast about like a 15-year-old talking random stuff.
About the game and actually being like correct.
There's probably like a lot more detailed stuff I can go into. This is like a rough draft of what I'm probably gonna make a organized video on. I'm recording this at like 2 a.m. I wanna go to bed. I have to study tomorrow, but who cares? Who gives a fuck about study
You have
when there is
school?
vermintide? No. I'm just catching up
Oh
on...
yeah, I need to log in.
Alright.
I forgot.
Let's... Yeah. I don't have much to say. I'm just gonna end the recording.